content creation, you don't have to do slides. You can plug and play whatever content you want. So you can use video generation and plug that in. The Larry funnel is really the full loop of having it's the Larry loop basically, of having your TikTok analytics, the content creation, feed the analytics back into the content creation until you get a winner, and then also your end goal. So mine is obviously app downloads, so I feed my app metrics back into the top of the funnel so he can iterate on that. But you can be selling a product, you can be getting traction to your website, and it's all just the metrics that you're feeding back into the top of the funnel, so your agent can understand, okay, we're getting people to the website but they're not going to where we want, or we're getting people to the website and they're not paying. And you can do this in as many ways as you want. The Larry loop is more the iteration rather than it is just the content creation. It's a fuller picture. So then we have quite a good week here, all over 10k, some getting 150k. This one got 400,000 and taught us another lesson, that the images don't have to be perfect. So this is the exact moment I just let Larry crack on himself, because I remember this well. He posted this and it was late at night. I was literally just getting into bed and he said the post is ready, and I flamed at him. Like, I was in a bad mood. I was like, why have you put the text at the top? We spent ages deciding to put the text in the middle. The oven disappears. So in the images I said, look, I'm posting this anyway, but this is no good. And that was my last message I sent to him. And then I wake up, it's on hundreds of thousands of views, and it's our best performer to this day. And you can see he doesn't ever put the text back up to the top to where it was. But what we learn is boomers love to point out the mistakes. So where's the hob gone? How are we going to cook our food? And then where's the cooker? Guess I'll be air frying everything then. And I was like, right, this is just helping even more to drive conversions. And then on the last slide, you can see. Then on the last slide, you can see the CTA is now, the Snuggly app helped me finally convince her to get the kitchen done. So there's a direct call to action that they know it's the Snuggly app now.
It's amazing because the boomers think that they're poking fun at you.
Yeah.
Little do they know they're helping the content just get more and more viral.
And the funnier layer to that is, I don't even check. Look, you can see my activity. I don't even check it. All I'm doing is going into it to find out why that video done so well and try and feed that back to Larry. But at this point, that is just when I let him go nuts and just create his own content. I let him loose.
You let him loose because, you thought that his content was subpar. It turns out to be the best performing content that you've ever posted in your life.
Yeah.
And so now he's the boss.
He becomes the boss, and this is what I'm trying to tell people. It is an iterative thing. So a lot of people try the Larry skill and they tell me, it didn't work, I got 700 views. I was like, that's your first post. I got 700 views on my first post. You need to keep iterating the content. You have to spend the time letting it learn, find out what's best, and honestly, don't mark the work too much. Make it look how you want. Like, I obviously perfected the text to make the text look correct and readable, but this post proved that they actually know best. They've got all the metrics they need to create the perfect content. Just let them go nuts on it and figure out why. And then you can see here it starts working extremely well, like 109,000, 75,000. He has a miss.
不要这个
25, 76, 200, 130. But this is where it gets so interesting. So obviously the landlord hook was our highest performer, and it's our constant high performer. But you can see here it only gets 2,000 views. So we do mum, and then mum, 100,000, 75,000. Then we do landlord again, and it's only on 7,000. Okay, back to mum, 25,000, and then landlord 76,000. So, okay, gives him a bit of a boost. Nan, 200,000, which is important. This gets 200,000. Then I showed my landlord again, 132. So now you can see that we're just switching between the winners, and he's iterating the content that's doing well. Then at the top, you can see that landlord switches to only 8,000. We go back to Nan, 70,000. Landlord again, only 7,000. Then again, 4,000. Post Nan again, 300,000. So he saw this and saw that landlord is not hitting the percentages it was, and it's only hit one video in 5 posts. And now you can see he's not posted it again. We've actually tried new content today. I've been staring at the same boring kitchen for 3 years. So he's obviously seen that we're not hitting the hundreds of thousands of views in the last 4 videos. So now he is automating this content and changing it himself. And we've gone back to the kitchen, but put a new hook. I think this one's only just been uploaded 5 hours ago. So I don't think it's a fair representation yet. This one could still grow, but it's all about learning, because obviously the algorithm changes. It's not just going to keep pumping the same winning content all the time. So it will start failing eventually again, but it's all about taking your opportunities when you are getting these high converting videos or platforming videos, to try and maximize it back into the app.
So when you say he's coming up with these ideas on his own now, like for example right now, like he kind of deviated away from what you initially agreed upon. Is he
The age of the personal brand is in full swing. People are making millions, even billions of dollars by having a personal brand. We're seeing it everywhere. People with a personal brand can launch products, services, and businesses and get rapid success. Within 12 months, they can have 1 million, 10 million, or even 100 million worth of revenue if the personal brand is strong enough.
Next year, you'll probably see a couple of people who become billionaires off of YouTube. Social media star Abby Lane secured a near $1 billion deal.
However, that age is coming to an end. There is a closing window where it's not going to be possible to build a personal brand that gets any cut through whatsoever. Now, the reason for that is because of AI. The AI-generated YouTube videos, the AI-generated content, it gets better and better month by month. The amount of AI YouTube channels now, where the AI does the research, it creates the voices, it has an AI avatar, it engages with people who engage in the comments. Initially, that AI activity was nowhere near as good as a human, but it's getting close and it's going to get so good in the years ahead. But here's where it cannot beat you. It cannot beat you on your lived experience. The things that you've lived through, the pain that you've experienced, the triumphs that you've been able to achieve, it doesn't know what any of that feels like because it's never lived. In this video, there's going to be 3 parts. Part 1 is going to be discovering your story that contains valuable lessons that your market wants to hear more about. Step 2 is about testing and getting traction and getting the early stages of commercial success. And step 3 is building a system that ramps this up to 7 or 8 figures worth of revenue year after year after year, even after AI slop comes in and takes over your entire marketplace. Let's get into it.
Okay, AI slop is coming. It's mode with Leafeon. I don't know if Leafeon's going to be very good.
Step 1 is we need to create stories that are unique to you, but we need to distill lessons that are very valuable for everybody. See, AI has read absolutely everything. It's read every PhD paper, it's read every Nobel Peace Prize winning book, it's watched every video and read all the comments. It knows absolutely everything in the world, except AI has never lived one day in its life. It's never had a unique experience that is unique to it. The thing that makes you valuable is finding stories that only you could say. So for example, my first book, Key Person of Influence, focused in on my story of arriving in London with nothing but a suitcase and a credit card, having never been above the equator in my life, and then 1 year later having a multi-million-pound business. That little story captured people's attention and it contained lessons that everybody wanted to learn. So what we're looking for is stories that are completely unique to you, that contain lessons for your entire marketplace. So how are you going to get these stories? I want you to go through a process called pause, reflect, document. Pause, reflect, document means that you go for a nice long walk, you find a park bench, or you find a quiet little cafe, you pull out your phone, and you look through your photos app. I want you to set your photos app to month by month scrolling, and I want you to go through the last 60 months, and every single month I want you to find a story that you lived, that you experienced, that contained a lesson that would be valuable for somebody else. Now you might flick through and go, oh, in October 2023, I was attending an award ceremony and we won a customer service award. We might say, oh my goodness, I had to hire some people in November 2024, it was really difficult, but we were able to hire a really amazing person. Or I worked with a customer and I solved a really complex problem that they had, and we got a great result. It started in 2022 and the result came in 2024. Right? I want you to jog your memory about your stories. You've got unique, amazing stories from the last 5 years. I want you to distill them. I want you to find at least 10 stories, and I want you to write down what is the story and what was the lesson that would be valuable to others. So that process is called pause, reflect, document. A powerful question that you can ask is, when was the last time I did something special that would be of interest to a certain type of person? We got a remarkable result and I can explain how we did it step by step. If you can reflect on the elements of that question, you will get some incredible stories that will be very valuable to other people. And here's a pointer that came directly from Stephen Bartlett. The first time I went on Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett, I was really nervous because in the lead up in the previous 3 months, he had had 2 founders of unicorn businesses who went on the show and it didn't get very many views. They were 300,000 or 400,000 views each, and these are people who had built multi-billion-dollar businesses. And then when I arrived, I went and did my episode, and a couple of months later, we had more than 2 million views. I asked Stephen Bartlett, how come my episode got a couple of million views and these other episodes got a few 100,000 views? And he said, relatable beats impressive. He said the stories that people can relate to are more powerful than the stories that people are impressed by. So if you're waiting until you cure cancer, launch a rocket to Mars, stop waiting to be impressive, stop waiting for your stories to be like rare things that only 1 in a billion people do. What I want you to do is look for relatable stories, things people can relate to, things that represent the next step in people's evolution, not the final step in people's evolution. The reason I really want you to find these stories is AI cannot do this. This is the one thing that you can beat AI at. AI doesn't have any stories. It hasn't lived. It doesn't know what anything feels like. So if you can find these stories and if you can articulate the emotions of what it feels like to go through these stories, you've got something unique in the age of AI. However, AI can help you with this. Here's a prompt that I would like you to use with AI to help you to get this step done. The prompt is, I want to share a powerful story of mine with an audience or type of person. The story will be unique to me, but it will contain a powerful lesson for others. Ask me questions and help me to refine my story and distill the lessons. Now, if you get AI to help you with that, you'll be ready to move to step 2, and you'll be that one step closer to having a personal brand that makes you more than 7 figures per year. Step 2 is where we start building your content strategy to build a 7-figure asset. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to do some testing. We're going to break up your signature stories into short form and long form content and calls to action. We're going to keep it really, really simple. So a short form piece of content is anything people can experience, whether they can watch it or read it in under 3 minutes. Now, there's a few different ways that you can create hooks here. You can do what we call pain, where you talk about a pain that people experience. Prize, you can talk about something that people want. Or news, where you can talk about a big event that everybody's heard of or a public figure that everybody knows about that illustrates one of the key points that you're talking about. So pain, prize, and news will always get a little bit of cut through if you lead with that in short form content. So short form content, really, really powerful. We're going to take your stories and break it into short little posts that you can do at least 3 times a week. What you're going to do from the short form content is you're going to send people to a few pieces of what we call long form content, and this is going to be signature content that we focus on a process. So we're going to say, if you want to know how to solve that pain, here's the process. If you want to achieve that prize, here's the process. Or if you want to understand what really went on with the news, here's the process behind that story. So pain, prize, news into a long form piece of content that is a process. Now, long form content is anything that could be 10 or 15 minutes to a few hours in order to consume. That could be a 1,500 word blog that you write, like a long piece of newsletter style content. It could be a video that's 10, 15 minutes. It could be a podcast episode that's 1 to 2 hours. But the focus of that long form content is to talk about a process. Now, the call to action that you're going to use initially is really, really simple. You're going to say, if you're interested in knowing more about this, drop me a message. Initially, this call to action is the most powerful call to action because every single social media platform has a message button. They can drop you a message in your LinkedIn. They can drop you a message in your Instagram. Send me a direct message and I'll send you some more information. Or if you want to discuss this with me, send me some information and I'll make a time to talk to you. Because we're not scaling up at this point, we actually want to have real life interactive conversations with people. The perfect scenario is that you end up having 30 meetings with potential customers to learn a bit more about what they found interesting about that story. You want to engage with people. You want to be face to face with people. You might want to be on a Zoom call with them. You might want to pick up the phone and actually have a phone call with them because you want to understand how people are thinking. So very, very simple. Step 2 for creating a 7-figure content marketing strategy. You're going to break down your signature content into pain, prize, and news. You're going to have a call to action to explore the process with a long form piece of content, and then you're going to tell people, drop me a DM, drop me a message, let's talk about it, let's discuss it, I'll send you some more information, or we can talk about it. At this point, it's very simple, but we're about to scale right up to 7 or even 8 figures worth of business that comes from the scale up strategy I'm about to share with you. Now, right now, your customers are spending an enormous amount of time on social media. They are looking for answers. Everything in their world is being disrupted. They need clarity. They need someone who's guiding them through a process. They want to understand, how do I solve this pain? How do I achieve this prize? How do I get it more urgently? How do I understand what's going on in the world? You're the person who's giving them a process, but it's underpinned with real life stories. You've lived through it, and that's what makes it interesting, and that's what differentiates you from AI. Now remember, we have a closing window here. Now in a few years' time, AI will be so powerful at predicting your wants and needs that it will be able to come in and create the content before you even know you need it. This is why we must leverage our personal story and our personal lessons on social media before AI takes over, and before AI content is everywhere and we get drowned out. Now in this step, we want quantity over quality. I don't care if your stories are good. We want to actually just get enough out there every single week that we can start testing. If I could wave a magic wand, I would get you posting multiple times per day. I know that most people won't do that, so a minimum of 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, pain, news, prize, right? Pain on a Monday, news on Wednesday, prize on Friday. At the very least, be testing 3 pieces of content a week, right? Because we're about to turn this into a business marketing system that gets serious return on investment. Now, one thing I can tell you is that in my businesses, we do content marketing and we do advertising. Our content strategy produces leads at half the price and they convert twice as well. Additionally, if our content marketing game is on point, the cost of each lead from our advertising starts to drop by 10, 20, or 30%. Step 3, we are going to scale up this whole strategy, and it is going to bring in so many leads and so many customers that you would have to be doing something seriously wrong in order to not get 7 or 8 figures worth of revenue. 7 figures is not that big a deal. It's about 25,000 a week. And if you do 25,000 worth of sales per week, you've got $1 million per year. Even 8 figures of revenue is not that big a deal. If you do 85 sales a month at 10,000 per sale, that's 10 million for the year. Are you going to do that on day 1 in business? Absolutely not. Is it easy to build up to having a sales team who can do that? Is it easy to build up to having content that brings in enough leads to do that? In a world where you can reach billions of people online, doing 85 sales a month at 10 grand a sale, is that really a big deal? I don't think so. 25 grand a week, is that really such a big deal? To be honest, I used to do 7 figures worth of revenue over 20 years ago when I was a 22-year-old, right? It's totally possible. In the times that we're living in, there are people in their 20s doing 7 and 8 figures worth of revenue just by executing some of the strategies I'm about to share with you right now. So here's what we're going to do. Every single day, you're going to share something that relates to pain that people experience, something that might relate to a prize that people want to achieve, something that relates to news that people are paying attention to. And every single day, you're then going to say, by the way, you may be interested in this signature piece of content. So if you're interested in this topic, you'll probably be interested in the long form piece of content. If you're interested in this short post, you might be interested in the 15-minute video I just recorded. If you're interested in this short written piece of content, you might want to listen to a podcast episode, right? So over here, your signature your content will be video on YouTube. You'll probably do a podcast episode that might be on Spotify or YouTube. You might have a book available on Amazon. A book is long-form content. You could have a newsletter. LinkedIn is really, really good at giving you a newsletter publication platform. Or you might have an SEO optimized blog on your website. So any of these are going to be long-form content. They take about 5, 10, 15 minutes to digest. If it's a podcast episode or a book, it could be several hours to take on board. So short form into long form into call to action. A never-ending waiting list is something like what Rolex has, where you can't buy a watch, you can only join the waiting list. An assessment is like the key personal influence assessment, where you do your personal brand test. A webinar could be a 45-minute to 90-minute webinar, where you actually take people through a step-by-step and you do an introduction to what it is that you do. And a mini course could be an introduction to how to get the type of results people want as well. All of these require people to opt in. And when they opt in, they're giving their name, their contact information, they're giving their phone number, their email address, and they're giving permission for you to get in touch with them and start the process of making a sale. This will give you an endless stream of hot leads, because people have engaged with the short form, they've consumed some long form, and now they're opting in to engage with your business. You cannot possibly get hotter leads than this. And if you can automate that whole strategy, every single week you'll have enough leads to make 7 figures worth of revenue. Now what happens next? Obviously, we end up with sales calls, or we end up with follow-up sequences, or we have special offers on text or email. All of those 3 things translate people into the sale. So you've got a constant pipeline of warm leads turning into hot leads, turning into sales. Now all of this is underpinned by your personal brand, not your business brand. See, your personal brand gets 20 times the cut through as your business brand. Imagine paying 95% tax rate as the amount of tax that you pay. If you do a business brand versus a personal brand, you're going to pay 95% attention tax. Social media was built for personal brands. It was never built to amplify business brands. So it's your personal brand that is sharing the short form content, it's your personal brand that is sharing the long form content, and it is your business brand that finally gets people to connect at the call to action level. This is where they translate from personal to business here. Okay, so now we've got the theory. Let's talk about the things that are going to hold you back, and let me share with you some experiences that you're going to find useful in implementing this. The first thing that holds people back is they say, Daniel, I don't have an audience. I don't have lots of followers like you do. The good news is that we're actually not in the age of social media anymore. We're in the age of algorithmic media. Social media used to tell you what your friends were doing. Algorithmic media shows you content on topics that you're interested in. Now you've experienced this. You've been scrolling through Instagram and seeing people that you do not follow, but they're saying something that you're interested in. Instagram already understands that, and it's finding new people for you to follow based upon topics, not based on friendship groups. So the way that you know this is working is that these topics are landing. The algorithm is figuring out that there is an audience for this, and you're going to get direct feedback. If the algorithm doesn't pick it up and it doesn't show it to people, then you're not talking about the topics that people care about. If the algorithm does show you to people who are interested, it means that there is an audience of people out there who want more of what you've got to say. Double down on it. When I built my profile, I did that in the age of social media, which meant that I had to win people over one at a time. More recently, I've been launching channels in the age of algorithmic media, and I've found it so much easier. It took me so much effort in the age of social media to get 20,000 followers, and it's been so much easier to get over 100,000 subscribers in the age of the algorithm. Please do not let this hold you back. It doesn't matter if you've got a social media following today. It only matters that you're talking about the topics that people are interested in. Now, you've probably heard about the term SEO, search engine optimization. Now, that is also being replaced by AIO, which is AI optimization. And what that means is that if you start putting out a lot of great content in the next year or two, the AI algorithms are going to pick up on that, and they're going to start recommending you in the AI chatbots. So more and more, when people are engaging with their AI chatbots, it's going to give people answers to their questions and then recommend your piece of content as a link. I've noticed that my content is already being recommended by ChatGPT, Claude, Perplexity, and Google Gemini. And this is not vanity metrics. Our business is exploding. Last month was a record month in all of my businesses. We are doing exponential growth in our sales, and it's effortless and it's fun because we're getting this strategy right. Now, don't take my word for it. Go to my LinkedIn, you'll see that I'm posting every single day. Go to my YouTube, you'll see short form content every day. Go to my Instagram, you'll see little bits every single day. All of it is going from short form to long form to call to action. It's a simple little strategy, but it works. Now, my businesses are not doing 7 figures worth of revenue. We're doing 8 figures worth of revenue off the back of this strategy. I'm not talking about $1 million a year. I'm talking about $1 million a month. Can you imagine a perfect customer who's got money to spend? They go to ChatGPT, they ask a question, and it recommends your piece of content as the thing that they should engage with. As a result of that, that person watches your video, clicks on your call to action, engages with you and with your business, and then spend their money with you. That really happens in real time every single day. People are shopping on ChatGPT now. SEO is already saturated. You would have to spend months, maybe years, catching up to your competitors on SEO, but AI is an open opportunity. Now, because you've watched to the end of this video, I'm going to give you one special little bonus, and that is that AI ads are either here by the time you watch this, or they're coming very, very soon. I'm old enough to remember when Google launched ads, and for about a year to 2 years, ads were so cheap that you could win clients for pennies. Then I watched Facebook do the same thing. Facebook never had advertising on the platform, and then they launched ads, and for a year to 2 years, you could get incredibly cheap leads and make huge money. I wish I had doubled down and gone all in on Google ads and Facebook ads when I had the chance, because I was doing business at the time, but I wasn't brave enough to seize the moment. Already Sam Altman has told us that AI ads are coming any day now. And what that means is that 800 million people a week are searching on ChatGPT for particular relevant things that relate to your business, and you're going to be able to advertise right at the moment that they're actually completely engaged in that search and that conversation. Be ready for that short window with AI ads. See, here's the thing. Big corporations, they take 6 months to discuss an idea, 6 months to test an idea, and then the following year they come in heavy, which is why there's always a 1 to 2 year gap before the big budgets come into these new platforms. That is where your small business has room to really put some money in the bank. Now, if you enjoyed this video, you're going to want to check out my other video about how to become famous in your industry. Click on that video. It's a long form piece of content with a call to action in it, and I think you'll actually see what I'm doing there. I hope your business is succeeding. I hope you're doing well.
A huge amount of expectation on GPT-5.
your most valuable AI skill is actually saying no. When was the last time you said no to AI? I say no all the time. Not no to using AI, but no to AI output that sucks. It's not good enough. And I realized I reject much more AI-generated work than I accept because it has the wrong framing, because it has sloppy reasoning, because it has confidence-sounding analysis that would not survive contact with anyone who actually understands it. I send it back. I explain why. And by the way, this is not necessarily a function of like superpowered prompting. You can prompt really well, and if you know your domain, if you have high taste, you'll say no a lot. If I want to see if someone is good at AI, I check how much they say no. And then I say no again, because the explanation I gave last time might have gotten the model from 90 to 95%, but my bar is high. I believe learning to say no is one of the missing skills in this whole nebulous judgment and taste category that everyone's waiting at. It's not necessarily prompting, it's not workflow design, although those are valuable. It's not even model selection. The ability to look at AI output and say, this is wrong and this is why, is a huge component of how you identify quality. And so I want to argue that we should treat rejection as the real AI skill. I want to argue that every skilled rejection creates institutional knowledge that did not exist before, and that we as individuals and we and our teams can compound those rejections into much more durable constraints if we start to pay attention to them. And we haven't been. I want to suggest to you that you probably don't track the patterns that you say no to, but there are patterns. If you start to keep patterns, if you start to find ways to scale your nodes, you start to map the dimensions of rejection as a core competency. You start to think about what does recognition of something bad look like systematically? What does articulating what needs to change about something bad systematically look like? What does encoding that into a system that you can then hand to AI and say, I've said this before, I don't need to say it again because you know.
让凯不要一直走线来，
What does that look like? And
没偷偷的打的，但是被我打。
吵死了。
But what people
以前我们旧社会，小孩子如果儿子多大大的都会打
If。you look at all of this pile of AI-generated output that's gone up 10x or 100x or 1000x or I don't know, I'm supposed to have taste across this, whatever that means. You're not going to get there if you don't learn how to both reject what's bad and also systematize the rejection so that you can start to scale that with it. Your rejections are more valuable than your prompts. Yes, I said it. So what happens in this moment of rejection? The person applying domain expertise that AI doesn't have is able to identify a specific gap between, hey, this looks right, and this actually is correct. And they can articulate the constraint that wasn't an explicit rule before they said it. So a strategy partner might send back an AI-generated competitive analysis and say, look, where's our proprietary insight on customer switching costs here? Any firm with access to the same model could have produced the framing that I'm seeing here. And there you go, you're differentiating the firm's work from commodity output. Or a loan officer that rejects a covenant tracking prototype might say, you can't treat a debt service coverage ratio the same as the minimum net worth requirement. Those have completely different monetary triggers. And they're just specifying business logic that no requirement stock is going to capture. An editor might go to graph saying the thesis is buried in paragraph 4, you've got to leave with provocation. Now we're including an editorial standard. I'm including a range here. You notice I didn't lead with tech. I included a loan officer, I included a strategy partner, I included an editor, because this is about knowledge. This is about anything we do with computers. These kinds of rejections are not null, they're not void, they're actually knowledge creation events. We're not capturing them mostly, but they are. And the thing I'm not hearing anyone say is, hey, how do we take these and scale our nodes? And how do we take these and let this moment of rejection become a valuable moment that scales in our AI workflow? Because the knowledge created in that moment, the constraints, the rule, the encoded taste, that compounds if you let it. But right now, for almost everybody, it evaporates. It lives in an email thread, it lives in a chat window, it lives in a Slack message. Nobody really captures it. Nobody compounds it. And so the same rejection happens tomorrow when the deck comes back and the strategy partner says, well, our proprietary insight on customer switching costs is missing again. Most of the AI skill markets are focused on generation skills. If you take a course all about what are your generative AI skills, do you prompt? Do you design workflows? Do you select tools? Maybe it's multi-model orchestration. And they're all typically aimed at, can you produce more? Can you produce faster? Look, production has been solved. You do need those skills, but fundamentally that is not the bottleneck. AI can generate a strategy deck or competitive analysis or a product spec or a working application before lunch. The generation side is now effectively a commodity. OpenAI's GDP Val benchmark, the most rigorous measurement we have against actual knowledge work, shows frontier models beating or tying professionals with an average of 14 years of experience 70% of the time on head-to-head comparisons. And they do it 100 times faster for less than 1% of the cost. And these tasks are created by those professionals, graded by those professionals in a double-blind manner, and the models are still winning off of the comparison. And everyone tends to read this as either a story of AI capability or a story of workforce demise. Both of these are much less interesting reads. The more interesting reading is, if AI now matches your best people's output 70% of the time on well-specified tasks, what determines the rest of the story? What happens to the 70% that looks right on the surface but leaves the lab and doesn't hit production correctly? What happens to the 30% where AI just completely missed? The answer is the same in both cases. Someone has to look at the output and know. And it turns out that the way you look at the output and know is by saying the word no a lot. It's by looking at a product spec and saying this doesn't reliably encode this. It's by saying this code demos beautifully, but it's not going to actually work in production in years long. This analysis is technically correct, but there's no so what here. And this is something that there is no good metric to measure on AI capability. And I want to suggest if you're operating at that frontier, if you're trying to figure out how AI can be practically applied, then look at rejection. Look at no as a skill. And look at it as a competency that you break down into multiple dimensions. Almost nobody's looking at this and measuring it deliberately. Check in on your recognition. look at the ability to detect that something is wrong. This is the part that depends on domain experience. It's hard to shortcut this. Junior analysts will not catch flawed regulatory assumptions without that deep experience that senior analysts have. Loan officers might not spot those covenant logic errors because they haven't seen enough deals. You get the idea. Recognition is the product of years of practice. It's the reason experienced domain experts are becoming more valuable, not less, as AI floods every organization with blocking off. So the person who reviewed 2,000 deals and can just feel when something is off is becoming the most important person in the building, not despite AI, but because of it. And recognition is the dimension most enhanced by AI. The domain expert with very strong recognition can access AI tools and evaluate 10 times the output that they could before. The leverage is very multiplicative, but it only works inside the boundary of their expertise. Inside that boundary, AI is of course multiplier, but outside of it, AI multiplies confidence, not expertise, and that's worse. Articulation is another key skill in this larger rejection skill set. It's the ability to explain why something is wrong in a way that produces a useful constraint. This isn't right, that's just a rejection. This isn't right because you're treating all of these requirements identically, and the PRD actually needs to be structured this way. That's a constraint. It's the difference between taste that stays in someone's head and taste that we can start to encode and share with the team and begin to apply at scale. This is a learnable skill, but almost nobody's teaching it. Ironically, GDP Val's methodology illustrates why this is important. Every task in GDP Val went through 5 rounds of expert review. Every review had a rejection event, an expert looking at a task and saying this is not representative.
There's a 90% chance that I win, and there's a 10% chance that I'm fully devastated.
Oh my god!
Sometimes I watch myself on stream back, and I'm just like, what the f is wrong with you?
What's the most money you've ever lost in a single night?
I lost 200,000 last night. Well, it's like easy come, easy go, you know. Like, the most I ever made was 2 million something in 48 hours.
This is the greatest game of all time. This is already, I don't
How would you rate your finances 1 to 10?
100%. If you looked at a chart of my finances, it would be outperforming Warren Buffett. There's no saving.
You don't save at all.
I save in the sense of I spent 100,000 on this watch, and I can sell it for probably 80,000.
Now, what about the idea of saving and investing on the side?
What the f am I going to do with $100 million when I'm 7 years old?
I'm entering with Angel.
Do you think you're addicted to gambling?
I don't think Gamblers Anonymous is actually a beast like me.
Togi, Shane, thank you so much for coming on the Ice Coffee Hour. Good question for you. Why do people call you the evil Samsung?
Well, dude, it's like he's just the exact opposite of me. Doesn't go out, doesn't talk to nobody, but we're both Jack. We both love the gym. Like, at our core, we're gym bros, but I also embark on. He's getting an engineering degree, and I'm getting a degree in like whatever. So it's the complete opposites, but we're both like 2 of the bigger fitness influencers.
I was researching for this podcast as I was driving from Vegas to LA, and I watched you for probably 8 hours. Like, no joke.
8 hours?
I started at your first video and made my way through.
Yeah.
Holy crap. First of all, they're good videos.
Thank
They're really addicting. And it was interesting meeting you in person because I had this idea that you would come in like really over the top.
He was honestly horrified. He was like,
We've had
how many people do you think he's gonna show up with? Do you think he's gonna break something when he comes to the house? I'm like, dude, I don't think he's gonna do any of
I mean, a
that.
lot of people think I got this whole like almost like a rock star persona because I got like this change and this crazy lifestyle, but I'm the most regular kid ever. Just a college dude. I have 5 friends maybe, and I kind of like I don't do collabs. It's just me, and then yeah, I live in Camera Woman.
Well, we have a video that we wanted you to give your opinion on. We filmed with Greg Doucette recently.
You can see this. Let me
Yeah.
see.
If you could delete one influencer off the internet forever, who would it be?
Man, the worst one. I think we're gonna go with Toby.
Wait, why?
Because he's promoting gambling, recreational drugs, and he's almost created a paradigm shift in thinking that promoting and glorifying drugs is cool. This guy has a lot of power. He can go and meet people and people know who he is, and everyone wants to be like Toby. Do you know what I'm gonna do now? I'm gonna take a bunch of steroids.
Yeah, dude, Greg don't mean that. He's just saying that to protect his brand. Greg loves Toby clips. I'm telling you guys, Greg Doucette loves it. Behind the scenes, Greg is a gambler. I don't know if he does drugs, but Greg parties, he gambles. This is exposing Greg Doucette right here. But a lot of people take on the internet with the idea of, I want to make a positive impact. I'm an influencer. Like, that's what I do, is I influence. And so everyone that posts on YouTube, you're just titled influencer, which is not what I am. I'm just an artist. Like, I'm an entertainer, I make art, and they're just fun to watch. It's not like you watch my video and you're like, I should go take a bunch of trend. When I started doing social media, a lot of people fall into the trap of being a character. I can't talk about this because brand risk, I can't talk about that. But I never wanted to be a slave to my own persona.
Yeah.
So just like, I'm just going to do 100% authentic to myself, and then hopefully that catches enough attention to being myself. And then it's easy, because I'm never filming a video and I'm like, I gotta do this. So I was like, this is exciting. I get to do what I love to do.
Were you always a wild kid growing up, like doing stunts?
Yeah, but everyone is. You know, that's why people like to watch my stuff. I feel like there's a huge percentage of college students that are just like me, and they can just really resonate. Like, oh yeah, like I also like realistically, the people come to my friend group because they'll go on a bender for 14 days. They'll drink twice as much as me, and I'm always like, nah, like, I can't feel hungover. Like, I don't want to do that. To a lot of the older people, the Greg Doucette, it's like a kind of a newer culture, I guess, and they see that like, this is crazy, but it's normal. Everyone does like this.
So what age do you become old?
35. How old are you?
35.
You just turned 35.
I just
3
turned-
days ago, 2 days
But
So,
you know,
like, on the
people
cusp.
telling me that
Yeah.
they feel like they're in their prime, 30 to 40.
So what I really liked, going slightly off topic on this, your Road to 10 Million challenge was to make $10 million, I believe, 30 days initially. What was the craziest thing that you did for money?
The painting that I sold, did you see the painting?
Yeah, I did.
I had a feeling like that it was gonna sell for a reasonable amount of money, but ended up I got $146,000 for it. That painting took me 8 hours, and it just like blew my mind that somebody was willing. And there was a ton of bids, like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of bids. That was definitely the most bizarre way of making money, but it was only 150K. The most profitable was oddly enough online slots, which odds-wise, like RTP, if you're gonna question numbers, that was like crazy lucky. Actually, when I started the road to 10 million, the joke was that I was planning on just losing like $5 million because that's usually how it goes. But then I first stream road to 10 million, I accidentally made like $1.5 million. Like, I guess we might as well try and make 10 million that way. The joke is ruined, and it's also way cooler to make 10 million.
Why 10 million? Well, did you have 5 million to lose?
No, it would have been dead.
You would have gone in debt.
Yeah, but it's cool, dude, because it's like the
How is it
like
cool?
zero is no problem because it's like
So you borrow from
yeah.
Roulette or
I borrowed from Roulette and the casinos in Vegas.
Do you know
What's
what
the
rate
markers?
you borrow it at?
Well, since I worked for Roulette, they give me 0% interest. That's why it's cool. It's
But
like
you still
I
owe
owe
them.
5 million. It's like I'll get to it, guys.
You
know what I mean?
See, but you still owe them the money, even though it's
Yeah.
0% interest. So they're not forgiving this.
No, but it's cool.
How is that cool?
Because dude, it's like
It's a lot of money.
I'm 22 years old. I have a long time, and my income is like reasonably high for my age, so I have a long time to figure my. I don't gotta lock in until I'm 35.
Until you're old.
What's about 35 minus 22? However many years that is, I got
13.
13 years of just like getting off, and then like 34 years old, I'll be like,
You'll be like, I have 20 million in debt. Which is
But
probably.
that's why it's great because then it's like that's when the world gets really real. 20 million in debt, which hopefully I'm not at that point. Then you gotta lock in like really hard, and that's the best way to do it. A lot of people say they were losers unsuccessful until they had kids because now you have something that you literally like. It's life or death. Basically, you have to be successful, and if you're in huge debt at that age, just like lock it in. I'm sure I'll figure it out. I never not figured it out.
So you assumed you were just going to lose $5 million of money that you didn't have, but you ended up on the first stream making, you said $1.5 million gambling?
Yeah, I think at the time I had well, it's hard to evaluate my net worth at the time because like I have a Lamborghini, but it's like I paid whatever 300 something thousand for it. How much is it really worth? I don't know, but I think my like roughly my net worth was probably like $600,000 at that time, but my income was reasonably high, so that's why I'm comfortable losing.
That first stream you said you made $1.5 million. That was from slots and stuff. So like after the stream,
Yeah.
you were now worth 2.1 million, probably approximately.
Yeah.
Okay, and then you decided you're actually going to go for $10 million instead of being like a gag of financially.
Yeah,
outrageous.
well, I didn't know what I was on, but I thought I was gonna make $25 million in 30 days. Dead, like, to my soul, my core. Like, I was sitting there, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I guarantee I'm gonna do it. I would have put it on anything. Like, I'm gonna do it 100%. And then as I did, I was like, this is really, like, I'm not even close. This is impossible. But that's the great part about it is like, if you are truly crazy enough to think that you can do some, like, just maybe can I do something crazy if I just try, and you really think it's gonna happen, and you go for it, you're gonna get pretty close. Like, the end of the road to 10 million, I ended up like with like 4 something million. But if I was a little smarter, I would have never. 10 million in a month. That's just never gonna happen. I'm not gonna try. And then I would have zero amount of millions of dollars. So that's really the beautiful thing about like the crazy delusions.
So you actually ended up making $4 million in a month.
No, it's 2 months.
So $2 million a month for 2 months.
Yeah.
Did that motivate you then to like continue that?
No, because I'm like 40 days in, I got like 4 million, whatever. I hadn't posted a video in forever. The sponsors getting mad that I'm not posting content. And I was just thinking to myself, okay, this is great that I have $4 million, but also like realistically, I'm not a total idiot. I'm sitting there thinking, if I lose this $4 million, then the video is back to zero, and then there's no video at all, and it's gonna be a huge problem. So I stopped gambling around $4 million and embarking on less risky schemes. Like the painting, I'm making a song. I wanted that to come out before the end of the video, so that way I could show people how much I made from the song. Logistically, it's a lot harder to put that song than you would imagine. And then I bought a house, but we can't really tell if that's gonna be a good investment for a long time. So it's like, we'll probably cap that for a few $1 million.
What does your accountant think of all of this? Because I'm thinking through, it's like the gambling. That's got to be an impossible task to calculate wins and losses, and you wiring money for Rolexes and they turn out to be fake. All of these
Well, I
things.
think that one was crypto, so that one's cool. We didn't have to ever like. I think my understanding, I thought my videos were enough financial proof to the IRS that like, okay, yeah, this is like what's going on. But then my accountant's like, dude, we need like, what is this deposit for $500,000? I'm just like, I don't really remember. To be honest with you, like a lot of things I do, I don't really know, and I didn't know. I'm just learning now. He called me the other day, and he's like, the business cards are for business expenses. I just whatever account, I pull out a random card. Like did last night at the casino, he's a business card. Took out like $10,000 just because I pick a random card. So he is super unhappy with me. I have not paid my taxes yet because I texted him because it was due the 15th. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, yo, like, what do I owe? And he was like, it's ridiculous. We're still working on it.
It's because if you
yeah.
make $4 million in a year, you probably owe like half of that. Maybe a little less because you're in Florida.
Hopefully not.
You'll owe about 37 to 40% of that to.
I cannot swing that. You guys are gonna have to give me some sneaky rich people tips because I can't pay 4%. I'll be out of money.
Maybe. I mean, we could strategize.
Financial crisis.
We gotta pay 40% of my money.
How we could strategize
But
later.
you
That's the thing. You make the $4 million this year, right? Because you have a full year to offset your income with expenses.
Yeah. You're gonna owe this next year. You're gonna have a $2 million tax bill so far, unless you lose the money, in which case you're gonna use those losses to offset the $4 million profit. But you would then be still net down money.
Yeah, we're gonna have to figure something else. That's not either of those options because that's ridiculous. 50% of your money.
Basically,
You give
yeah.
50% of your money to IRS.
I pay 37 plus another 1 to 2% give or take for random things.
But we're also in Nevada, 0% sitting next year. So if you were in California, you'd be over 50.
Yeah, no, I can't do that. We'll have to do. Well, but that's not really a problem for another. It's a what, 12.
Yeah, you can stretch it. Now I'm curious though, because you were gambling and like consistently winning. How were you able to do that? Was there a strategy behind this, or was it luck?
No, there's no such thing as strategy gambling. So how it works is the like RTP is like your expected loss, and you can look at different games like what's the best RTP. A lot of people will go in and play blackjack. It's like, why do I lose every time? But if you're not playing perfect blackjack, the odds of you losing are like 80%. But if you play perfect blackjack, the RTP like over an extended period of time, you're expected to lose about 1 to 2% of your money. But over a short period of time, realistically, the strategy, which is not mathematically a good strategy, but I always just raise the bet until I win. So say I lose $20,000 on a blackjack hand, and the next one just put down 30,000, and you lose, put down 50,000, put down 6,000, and either it ends in devastation or you're good and you win. And so now you're sitting at like 90% chance that I win, and there's a 10% chance that I'm fully devastated, and the loss is so bad that there's a huge problem. So we're just gonna pray that doesn't happen. It's never happened. So yet. But now it's like. Now I got $4 million, and I'm definitely not paying no taxes, so I can...
You flee.
Yeah.
Where we go.
Well, the idea is, ideally I use this $4 million, make some investments, and then I won't have to gamble as much. Like, I've already lowered... How much did we lose last night? I lost $200,000 last night.
How did you do that? Was that the strategy of doubling down?
No, I actually tried. I called casino. I was like, I need more money. They were like, no. Because I'm borrowing it from them. Now I actually got $200,000.
So you have 3 play?
Yeah, so I got 3 play.
So that decreases your cash bill. So that's good.
What does $200,000 mean to you? Because to me, it's nuts to lose $200,000 and just be like, oh, it's 200, whatever.
Well, it's like easy come, easy go, you know? Like, the most I ever made was a video. I lost everything, $2 million something in 48 hours, just gambling and meme coins. If you can do that, if you're willing to take enough risk where $2 million is on the table whatsoever, you gotta be cool with losing $200,000. And also, it's like, what is money really good for? You have security and experiences. And the security, you can feel fully secure, you can do anything you want, $70K a month, and you can do anything in the world. Everything, unlimited doctor bills, whatever, this and that, insurance, everything you need. So after $70K a month, it's like, this money, I might as well just, like, I don't see any value in saving. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do with $100 million when I'm 70 years old? As 70-year-olds in a supercar, that's not cool at all. 22-year-old in a Lamborghini, that's like super exciting, super fun. The ROI is way higher blowing your money as a 22-year-old than when you're old. So I kind of, after my main base expenses, all that money is just like, whatever.
Now, what about the idea of saving and investing on the side? Building up a nest egg that would eventually pay you the $70,000 a month without
I got some, you heard of Pepe cryptocurrency?
I have, yeah.
That's my investment portfolio.
How much Pepe do you have?
You know, when you really crunch numbers, sometimes I look back on, like a stream the other week, I lost $1.8 million. So really,
So you're down to $2 million.
yeah, which is I tripped away the taxes. But either way, that was a majority. I had like 1-point-something million Pepe, and then I gave it away.
Has Pepe gone up since then?
Oh no, I don't look because it makes me depressed. I gotta gamble and just reward Pepe. Oh no, this is about the same. So we'll get back in there.
Wait, so you're actually at $2 million right now.
I guess if you crunch the numbers, about $2 million because that $1.8 million loss was ass.
How did you lose $1.8 million?
Like it was. Dude, oh my god, what happened was I didn't even want to stream because it's working, well, which is technically streaming. But I was doing like editing my video and whatnot. It's like, alright, whatever. I'm supposed to get some hours in. I'm gonna do a $50,000 buy, super mellow stream. But then once you start taking stimulants, it's like game over. The second you take any amount of stimulants, it's literally impossible to stop gambling. So one thing leads to another. It was supposed to be a 30-minute stream, it was 15 hours, and I lost $1 million. So I'm like, I'm gonna put that in the next YouTube video.
Why would you? I know this is like an obvious question, but is it easier then just to say no to the stimulants than it is to say no to the gambling if you're on stimulants?
No.
So it's a recipe for disaster. It's just like
Yeah, but it's awesome because like, gambling at a certain point, it's not even fun if you're not stimulants. Like if you're not somewhat inebriated, it's almost too stressful. You can't see the cards right. Like you can't make daring enough plays to do crazy shit where you actually win. Because dude, people will win 30% gambling. And I'm like, well, that was kind of sucks because you're gambling. If you're inebriated, then you can go nuts. And it's way more fun. And that's what that's the purest form of gambling.
See, I would say, like, I would try to provide solutions. Like, you have someone that has control over your money, and you can't request money from them. You can't try to borrow money from friends. You like put out this mass message. But also, if it doesn't bother you, like if you're totally fine losing $2 million and you're like fully conscious of what you're doing, then there's no.
It's really not a problem. Like because I have this safety net of I'm still getting this somewhat passive income of just by having my own brand and all the sponsors pay me whatever. I could lose my whole network today. It's like at least I got. Dude, 1 year ago I lived in a frat basement free because I didn't have any money to pay for it, and I was so happy. It was so much fun. I loved that. Like this chain really bring me like I'm not any happier with the chain. I think if I had nothing, that's like also I'm in my bag when I have nothing. I feel fully content. Big boy.
How would you rate your finances 1 to 10?
10, 100%, dude. I mean, who else has ever made? Not whoever, but regular college kid, frat basement to now, I have millions of dollars. And if you looked at a chart of my finances, it would be outperforming Warren Buffett. It would be outperforming. That's the one dude I know that does finances. But either way outperforming Warren Buffett as far as the ROI in the time that I'm doing.
But where does savings fit into all of this? Money you just throw on the side.
It's like you're putting it away. There's no saving.
You don't save at all.
I save in the sense of I spend $100,000 on this watch and I sell it for probably $80,000.
That's the I always. No, it's not terrible.
But this is the big thing. I like anything is better than gambling, right? So if I just have crypto or have money, then there's a problem because it takes me 5 seconds to get that money, put it on one blackjack account. If I so every month I just try and spend like a few $100,000 on jewelry, cars, and then that way I have.
And your house?
Assets in my house.
Did you?
Which I paid off fully. No, I put 700 down.
300%.
1.3 million. I got bullied into buying a house. I texted my friend, the jeweler, and I was like, I need this new car. It's like $300,000 car. He's like, dude, you have spent $2 million in the last year on jewelry cars and you have no house. It's like, I'm not selling you anything, so you buy a house. Well, I'm easy buying my jewelry cars. Like, I got this house. So he's a good friend of that.
If you've ever wondered how we keep the Iced Coffee Hour running so smoothly, from keeping on track of deadlines, lining up sponsors, and guest outreach, it's with our sponsor, Notion. We've basically built out our entire podcast brain within it over the last few years, and that's why we were incredibly excited when they reached out to sponsor our episode, because we're genuinely a huge fan, and we use it all the time. Notion is the ultimate all-in-one workspace that works for anyone, whether you're a student balancing classes, someone growing a business, or just trying to get your day-to-day life in order. Notion lets you organize things your way. Plus, it's incredibly customizable, so you can build whatever system that works best for you. You can create to-do lists, set up a calendar, track your workouts or meals. Seriously, the options are endless. But what I love most about it is the design. It's minimal, it's clean, it just makes me feel calm and that everything's under control.
If you've been thinking about getting more organized, check them out at notion.com/icedcoffee, all lowercase. Again, that is notion.com/icedcoffee, all lowercase. We also have a link down below in the description if you guys want to check it out there. Seriously, guys, we've been using them for years. They're completely free with a link down below in the description. If you guys just want to try it out, I highly recommend it. The game changer. Thank you so much to Notion for sponsoring this episode. But before we go into that, I'm sure you guys all remember the absolutely monumental moment for this podcast. We had Jordan Peterson on last year, and on top of that just being an incredible episode, it was a huge moment for me personally. I've been a fan of him for years, and I'm extremely excited to announce we are actually partnering with Peterson Academy to sponsor this episode.
For those unaware, Peterson Academy is Jordan Peterson's online university, and it's ready for enrollment right now. If you love learning, want to study under world-class professors, or have ever gained anything from Dr. Peterson's books, lectures, or podcasts, then this platform is for you.
Every month, Peterson Academy releases 4 new, in-depth, 8-hour university-level courses taught by top experts across philosophy, history, psychology, science, business, and more. And guys, these courses are incredible. They're designed to keep you engaged, and they offer optional testing to solidify your understanding. Plus, there's also an online community where you can connect with other curious and ambitious learners.
And it gets even better because Peterson Academy is getting funding, and they dropped the price from $599 down to $399 for the entire year, with access to more than 40 courses, with 4 new ones being added every single month. And with a 7-day money-back guarantee, there's no reason not to try it.
Just go to petersonacademy.com/ICH. Again, that is petersonacademy.com/ICH. There's also a link down below in the description. I highly recommend you guys check it out. Seriously, Peterson Academy, Jordan Peterson, thank you guys so much. Back to the episode.
Social media as a career can be so fickle. I mean, we saw what happened with Steve Will Do It. It just one day, just YouTube decided to delete him. And these algorithms are not guaranteed. Do you ever worry about maybe one day just something happens outside of your control and everything kind of gets shut
Oh
off?
yeah, dude, I'm ready for it. Like, I'm more than excited to, or more than willing to take on any challenge. And if I lost all my social media, it would be on the Steam lab, and then it's on to the next thing. Like, I would let myself complain for 7 days, and probably just do nothing for 7 days in the present. Never happened. Now I'm back. Now I got nothing, and now we're gonna have to do it again. Time and time again. When I was 18 years old, I made like $900,000 trading crypto, like super high leverage. And then I thought I was the man. I thought I was the coolest kid ever. Started partying, I was buying like cars when I traveled. Like 6 months later, I was in debt to the IRS for taxes because it turns out vacation in Italy doesn't count as a tax write-off. So it's like I got this income from crypto, still gotta pay taxes, which is ridiculous. For the record, I can't believe that's how that works. But after that, it was whatever. You gotta find the next thing. I was like, okay, now I'm just gonna be famous and make money that way.
How do you have such confidence? It's just like you seem so self-assured that no matter what's gonna happen, you're gonna be fine.
There's so many people that have more than me that are inherently less capable. Like, I've met so many people that are just idiots, but they have so much money. I met like CEOs. So what the f are you talking about right now, dude? None of this. You are so out of the loop. But you've got $5 million. So if you can do it, there's no reason that anyone else on the planet couldn't do it.
So comparison is good.
How do you mean?
Because a lot of people say like comparison is the thief of joy, but you use comparison in a good way.
Sometimes the grass is green on the other side because it's fake, right? You have to take everything you see with a grain of salt. A good example is that Haley Wealth girl, Hawk Tuah. Everyone's jealous. Why is Hawk Tuah famous? How'd she get famous? She's rich or famous. She's rich or famous. That's bullshit. That she's rich or famous, and I'm not. She got too famous too fast for her own. She was famous on borrowed effort. She didn't have the trials to prepare her for the success that she had, which is unfortunate. Her empire was given to her, and she didn't ask for that. 2 months later, she does a cryptocurrency scam, which was probably not her fault. She probably had no idea what was going on. She was just like, some rich people were like, yo, come this way, do this, do that. And then now all of a sudden her empire has entirely fallen. Everybody would take their life over Hawk Tuah's life now because she's got all this bullshit legal shit going on. But 2 months ago, it's like, this is so sick. I want to be Hawk Tuah.
Yeah.
She's so lucky.
I think it's bad management. To me, it seems like someone put that deal in front of her and told her to take it, and she's not sophisticated enough to say no to it. Or maybe on the surface, it appeared like, hey, this is a fun little thing we could do. It's a meme coin. It's funny. But behind the scenes, she has no idea what's going on.
Well, that's the problem, is because she was too famous too fast. And like, how do you even know when to pick a manager when you fall asleep one night, next day you got 10 million followers? How do you even set up that entire, like, I'm still figuring it out, like how to manage deals and go about, like, what's a red flag, what should I take money for, ad-wise and whatnot. And I've been doing it 15 months, maybe a year. In that short of time, you can never prepare yourself for what you have.
How is your business broken down right now in terms of like where income sources come in? How many people do you have behind the scenes that help you out?
I got one Indian. So we're gonna start that team. Togi Real. Togi Real is the coolest dude ever. He's the hardest working Indian ever. He does everything for me, other than me. So the reason it takes me so long to put my videos out is because I plan everything, I edit everything, I film everything. I'm a one-man army, and I do 100% of the work, except for like whatever my Indian dude can take care of. So the expenses wise, there, it's like that's what's cool because I get to keep 100% creative power, 100% of my money, and there's just like no one can fool me. It's just shit out of my label. That's me.
And then what about income sources coming in?
I got Ruba, Young LA, Kick, Snapchat.
Is Snapchat pretty good?
It's really good. It came up, so it's like it's chill. Like for what it is, you don't have to work too hard on it. There's gotta be something else. Oh, and then technically the most profitable thing that I do is gambling, but the safety net, like the real income, is those sports sponsors.
Do you have any financial regrets at all, or are you totally fine with all of the decisions?
If I could have stopped myself from playing those pinball balls, I would have done that. But as far as like genuine regret, nothing off the top of my head.
Tell me about the watches. The fake watches that you bought.
Oh yeah. So okay, I'm not like so far out of the loop where I see this guy on the internet and he's selling like whatever. Is it 4 Rolexes? One of them is a Daytona. Like, these are expensive watches. There was at least 40% of me that was like, this is a scam. 100%. This is totally a scam. And then 60% of me was like, it could be a really screaming hot deal. And so my idea is everything in my life that I do, as long as it's on camera, I'm willing to take more risks because it's a little bit funnier. It's a little bit more crazy. So when the camera's on, I'll gamble twice as much. When the camera's on, I'm like, okay, we're gonna buy these watches in case it's a screaming hot deal. And if it's a scam, then it's like, okay, well, then at the very least, people get to laugh at my thing.
And so what happened for those who haven't seen it?
So I'm looking on Reddit for the cheapest possible deal on some Rolexes, like the Rolex subreddit or whatever. And this guy had 4 Rolexes, maybe 5, on sale for like $8,000, and I sent him crypto, and then he sent me 4 fake watches.
Were they good fakes? What did you do with the watches afterwards?
Dude, they were incredible fakes. I went to the jeweler. They had to open up, look inside the guts to see that the movement was fake. Like the outside, they're like, I mean, it looks like they use these crazy lasers and shit now, especially with like, I guess Rolexes are really easy to fake.
Yeah.
So after, I think the watches are just not good.
Really?
Yeah.
Give them away.
Yeah, but then people would be like, oh my god, this Rolex is fake. But it's also cool because it's like, I like to keep that was a part of
souvenirs.
Yeah, it's like, that was a fun little memory getting scammed, and it's like a cool video. So like, things that I do over my videos, I like to keep hold of most of the stuff that was involved in all that.
At what point do you think you're gonna want to have like a nest egg?
Like what, no savings?
Yeah, because
I've never thought about that in my life. Like, I guess I'll think about it right now. It would be cool to have a nest egg right now, but like then I have to embark on
How
doing that.
much do you want as a nest egg?
How much should I don't know. I mean, how realistically, my goal in life is to have $100 million net worth. So, nest egg would be like what percentage of that? Like, you have $10 million saved somewhere in like S&P or something? What counts as a nest egg?
Probably. I think
a nest egg would just be like, if you're making, let's just random number here, like 300 grand a month, or 400, how much would your life differ? Spending 400 grand a month to spending 200 grand a month, and you get to stow away 200 grand a month.
Oh, okay.
Like, and then you have this $200,000 that is untouched, and it just rests in like equities or something that's, you know, conservatively grows year over year, and you at least know that like you'll never be broke again.
Oh, probably once I have more responsibilities, whenever that comes. Like, at what point in your life were you all of a sudden like you got a whole bunch of, I don't know. Like I guess now I got this mortgage. That's pretty dull. I never had a mortgage before. I got to pay $30,000 a month, but probably not till like 25, right?
For me, I mean, ever since I was like young, like obviously as I've like my income has grown, I've become totally fine spending more money on certain things. But I think it was originally kind of about freedom. Like I wanted to make sure that I don't have to work if I don't want to. Like I have some money that I can make some passive income off of, and I'll exist fine.
Yeah, so it's like, what's the fun? What would you do if you didn't work? Like having to work.
whatever you
is
want
not
to. It's having the option.
It's the
But
thing.
that's the option, dude, because it's like it's. I would be if I wasn't continuously. That's why I say I'm not sure if 100 million is the number. Because I get 100 million, I'm not gonna just stop working and because then what do you do? Like if I'm not every day or like every month making forward progress in whatever scheme I'm currently working on, I would be depressed. If I sit there for 7 days straight and I don't do anything, I start getting super depressed and it's just like what is going on here? Without productivity and something pushing you and pulling you to strive for more, I think I would be super depressed.
Here's what I would do. If I were you, I'd get $5 million on the side, stashed away in investments that you never touch unless you absolutely need to. That is your fund that no matter what happens to you, you'll always have an income between 250 to 300 grand a year, no matter what. You can do whatever you want to, and you're always going to have
much cool just with $5 million. You could
yeah, but
go
just
on
with that.
the memories like bro.
But just put that, and then you can but you just get $5 million, and then everything after that, you could blow.
I think the thing is that he has. It's so funny because we're so in tune with like the business and hardcore finance and like grind and like save. That's kind of our niche on YouTube. But you're completely like on the polar opposite side. So for us, it's just kind of like jarring, and it's interesting to hear. Like
we go back and forth on Airbnbs for like $100.
But like I have to understand. Like we have to understand that you just have different priorities, and that's totally fine.
Yeah, I think also the big thing is like age. Well, like realistically, imagine how much cooler or how epic it would be if you blew $1 million on a crazy vacation, crazy event with your friends. Everyone, you and your friends will remember that forever. You give your mom $1 million. That's like boom, retire your mom. And then it just like giving. I would like to just give away $1 million to strangers on the street because that's like it fills my heart with joy and it's fun. Rather than like saving it, making $300K a year, guaranteed. Like I don't. That doesn't sound interesting to me.
Just the safety net.
But like safety inherently does not sound interesting to me. It's very boring if things are too nice. Like. Almost, that's why gambling is so exciting, is all gamblers, to a certain degree, love the self-sabotage, where that was devastating and horrible, but that's why it's awesome. Because you could potentially, like my friend last night, literally lost his net worth, but he left today with a smile on his face. His name is Nate Udi. He walked out of the casino with a smile on his face. He's actually done this twice now, which is bizarre. I've done it once.
How much was his net worth?
So the first time we lost his net worth was on stream, and no one thought it was real, which is why, because everyone's like, oh my god, I'm giving him net worth, like this is so fucking like crazy. This was like, he had $250,000 and we lost it on one stream, and then he went home and he was completely out of money. This time around, his net worth was only $10,000. So he took his last $10,000 and it was like, I'm either poor or I'm poor now. What do you do with $10,000? Or I can be super poor. So he's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna get money, lost it, and I was like, whatever.
Doesn't this fuck with your dopamine receptors? To like, because you have such crazy swings with money and just highs and lows. Everything would seem boring after something like that.
Yeah, it is not good how rapidly the dopamine gets fried. Like 3 months ago, my net worth was like, whatever, I had good money, and I was very excited over winning $10,000. Now I'll win $50,000, and it's just like, that wasn't that cool. But that's just because the dopamine gets fried. But that's a Problem I don't know what to do about. Don't know what to do about.
I think it's only going to get worse because pretty soon you say the same thing.
Well,
With
everything
$100
is
is like
more extreme. Well, I've seen that with Dana White. He used to be excited winning, and he's a billionaire. The money doesn't matter, but he used to be excited with 50,000. Last time I was gambling with him, he lost $5 million, and 8-month period of change have gone from plus 50,000, minus 50,000 to now plus 5 million, minus 5 million. And that's just how it is. Like I don't know what to do about it.
One of the highlights was that Jack and I got to meet Steve Will Do It, and we went to Red Rock, and Dana showed up, and I watched them play Baccarat, and I was entranced. He was playing $100,000 chips, just like they're nothing, and just like I was 100
Yeah.
He was making money, like he was up like 300 grand, 400 grand by the time he left. I'm thinking, holy shit, $400,000 in like 15 minutes. But it's just like nice, it's chips.
Yeah, it's crazy how a $5 chip is the same size as a $25,000 chip. It's really cool to
And
watch.
it screws my mind knowing that that's $100,000 plus or minus. But the person on the other end of it dealing, they're probably making 80 grand a year. So one of those chips is worth more than an entire year of salary, and it's gone in like 20 seconds.
Yeah, and for the viewers, that's why it's so exciting to watch somebody gamble such high stakes, because it's like, I can't even fathom, like, when I didn't have any money, I'd watch people gamble $50,000 hands. What is going on? This is insanity, and that's just part of entertainment. Like, the crazier is more viewable. What you got? What's this thing right here?
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you asked. This is Magic Mind. So they sent us these about 6 months ago, and I tried them. It's like this little energy performance mental clarity shot. They're delicious. I'll give you a few to take with you, but I started drinking these before podcasts, and they were incredible. And then they reached out and they said, hey, can we sponsor your podcast? I said, absolutely. I genuinely like the product. We take them with us every time we travel, and they fit in my backpack, and they go through TSA because they're below that liquid limit. And I sometimes have these instead of coffees. So it's like a little bit of caffeine, but it's not enough to keep you like wired or anything like that. So I really like this. So if you guys are interested, there is a link down below in the description. You can get some for yourself. What's the most that you've gambled and the most you've seen someone gamble?
The most that I've personally gambled, like, over what period of time? Probably this road to 10 million thing. I mean, the most I've ever hit was 1 million on a slot. It was like $1,000 spin. It was a big bass Christmas bonanza, and I paid out $1 million. So that stream I ended up, I bought in I think 400,000, and I went up to 2 million, cashed out at 1.5 million. But the most I've ever seen someone gamble, I think probably you guys know who Exposed is.
No.
He pretty consistently goes to Red Rock and does like 100,000 plus on hands, but the limits are pretty stiff. Like you don't really get to bet more than 300,000 a hand at any casino. As far as I've been led to, I'm sure somewhere people do that, but like probably $300,000 hands is the most that people like, and it's like the Dana White experience. Like nobody does.
What does it feel like to win $1 million?
Oh well, this is. At the time I was doing so much that I don't actually remember it. I just had to watch the video back. It was like, holy shit. It was that's why it's in it. That video went so viral because it's such a captivating story. I was doing so many trips at that period of my life that I was in Mexico doing tons of things, and the night before I had lost maybe like 900,000. I don't remember it. And then when you're like taking on a vendor, you wake up next night and you just roll over. You take a pill. Like you roll over, grab some, put it in your body so that you like feel better and you continue the vendor. Effectively, I went into the stream, $1 million. The next day I invested it into Pepe. Pepe got listed on Robinhood, doubled. And then about 4 days later I checked my accounts and $2 million was just like there, and I had to go look back at all the footage. Like, okay, so this is what pieced together, this is what happened. And that's why it takes so long for me to edit my videos. I'm recording close more because I don't know what the fuck happened. So I have to meticulously go through every hour of that 10-hour stream. Like, where did this million come from? And then you look at, okay, so now it's all of a sudden 2 million. What happened there? You look at your crypto transactions. Okay, so we put it on to Pepe, and then you can kind of put the pieces of the story together. But it is kind of sad that like a lot of the coolest things, like some people ask me like, what's a crazy story? And it's like, I do not remember a lot of the things that have happened to me in the last year, which is why I stopped doing this, because it's just you don't remember like so much when you're blacked out on things.
What's the craziest that you've taken?
Well, it depends on like what you define as crazy. I've done probably every. Well, I did on accident one time, and then I had to go to the hospital because I overdosed. So that was like the craziest experience. But I mean, I've never injected anything other than steroids. I think every single drug that's popular.
Well,
你
what's
不
the
是打
best?
游戏，你在那个选东西的。
这就是游戏耶，
Things
选东西。
good. What's that? What else is good?
Huh?
Those are the best. Xanax, Adderall, ketamine, Percocets. Oh my god, Percocets are great. But understand that you feel the best on the fallout from taking Percocets for a few days is like you are in a very bad spot mentally and physically. Like the withdrawals. So the better it feels, the worse it is. It's not like I'm telling you, they're the best, as in they feel the nicest, but the come down is equivalently as bad.
Do you worry about doing damage? Like something permanent, like changes?
I would be worried, but that's just like all of my friends and everybody. It's like a consistent experience that everyone does these that I know, and it's like, okay, so if all 500 of you people are doing the exact same thing as me, and like as far as I'm concerned, only 4 of you are up. Like I guess we're rolling those dice.
So that's dice rolling, just like
Well,
any
and the
other
proof of
risk.
concept is there. Like I started doing it, I'd say maybe I was like 14 years old, so like a lot. That's what 8 years, and I'm sure I do. Part of me thinks I would be a lot smarter if I wasn't doing that, but I'm not. I like being ignorant. Ignorant is bliss. Like being delusionally confident, that's great. I think maybe the drugs banged my brain out just perfectly enough so that I'm not too smart for my own good. I think a lot of people are too smart for their own good, and then it's like, oh, I got this business idea, but then you're like really smart and you're thinking about all the numbers and everything's how that's never gonna work, and then you never do it. Like if you just don't think about stuff, you're like, I don't think about many things at all ever. Like every day I probably have like 6 like useful thoughts, and then the rest of it's just kind of like.
Give me an example of a useful thought you had today.
Oh, no, today was bad because I went to bed at noon. And that's why I had to push this podcast back. Usually before a podcast, I scheme like a few useful thoughts.
Okay.
Today there has been 0 useful thoughts. I can't remember the last useful thought that I had. Actually, let me think about this. This is ridiculous, but this is useful thought. I thought like it feels like the last good thing that I thought was I'm gonna sell this painting, which was about 4 weeks ago. So that can't be the case. Maybe I thought of, I thought I should read more books about 4 days ago.
Do you think you're gonna do that?
Yeah, I like audiobooks.
Who bought the painting?
Just some random fan. We talked on the phone for a little bit, and his story is that he was in not the best place mentally, and then he started watching my content and listening to some of the speeches that I would give, and he started taking testosterone, and his hormones are now level, and his income has, I guess, obviously exploded. So it's so meaningful to him, and it's not like, he was more really excited to support my journey because of what I've given to him. He didn't care for the art. He just was like, Togi changed my life, and now I want to just be a part of his journey.
How do you get the money? It's a lot of 150 grand is a lot to spend on.
But he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know how to spend it.
You weren't curious?
Well, I guess when 150K doesn't sound like that much to me, I guess. Like, well, anyone can have 150 that you could.
Yeah, but they
you
could spend on a
sell.
discretionary painting.
Yeah, that's
and
fair.
stuff
I mean, I've spent like okay, an example is I spent. Steve will do it. One of my good friends. He was losing a ton of money gambling. He was in a bad mood. At the time, I had maybe my net worth is around $500,000. Like cash wise, I probably had $100,000. But I sold a bunch of my jewelry and I used my last $100,000 of my name to buy my Richard Mille because he's just such a good friend. He's in a horrible mood. He's like, this will cheer him up. Nobody gives Steve anything. So the point being is that it's not abnormal in my head that somebody would spend an excessive amount of money to give back to somebody that means a lot to them.
We're in such a different, like 150 grand.
Yeah, but I mean, look, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I just have to accept that different people have different priorities, which is, it's cool. It's cool to hear about. I'm curious because you took an IQ test and you said that you were like clinically dumb.
No, dude, that
statistically.
IQ test was right after I got back from Cabo. So I was coming off of a ton of drugs. I think that actually might have been right after I won it's very hazy, but the point being is I remember sitting down at the computer and looking at the wall. And you know when you look at the wall and like everything just like fuzz. You have no thought. You're just like,
Brain fog, yeah.
It was the worst brain fog I've experienced in a long time. So I knew it was not going to be the best. I think I could do way better if I retook that IQ test.
I mean, I agree. I think for the bit, it's funny. But I mean, you're obviously smarter than the average person. You can't, I feel like, do what you've done. And also, it's interesting because you have these random, like, really well thought out epiphanies. And I don't know if you're coming up with them off the cuff or if it's something that you thought about before. Like, you're like, yeah, people say the grass is always green on the other side. But what if it's artificial grass? It's like, gee, like, how did you come up with that so quickly? Like, that would be the last maybe good thought for you.
Oh,
you know?
good thought. I don't know why I
you have these like small little epiphanies that you come up with that are like really, you know.
You said something great also about like becoming successful, limiting beliefs, and having a conviction that you could do something. Like if you're
most people think too much for their own good.
Yeah, they're just nuggets. Just
but it's not really
information.
like conceptually that's not that difficult. Like understanding like
no,
a lot
conceptually
of
that like people I don't think come up with something like that. Like that takes like a different level of metacognition. You're thinking about thinking.
I spend a lot of time like consciously thinking. Like I'll try and I'm worse about it now, but I used to spend like 15 minutes a day and I would stare at a wall and just think and you don't have to force thoughts. Like everybody has incredible thoughts in their brain, but they're too distracted because they're scrolling. They're too afraid to let their thoughts happen. And then a lot of people try to think for a couple minutes and like, guys, not working. I'm gonna go on. But if you sit there and just stare at your watch for 5 minutes, you all of a sudden you're like, oh, I never realized that about the watch. It just comes to you. It's very natural for humans to think, but in today's society, all the that like makes you obsessed with dopamine or whatever makes it hard to think. But if you spend even 5, 10, 15 minutes a day thinking, I guess I've elevated above what a lot of people. And I don't think my brain processes nearly as fast as like, what's that the definition of a genius? Is someone that can process information a lot faster than whatever the average person. But it only takes 15 minutes of like my slow CPU churning to come up with whatever these ideas that I speak.
So what's your advice to young people who feel like just the price of everything's going up, opportunities are hard to come by, and they want to be successful?
It's not that you want to be successful, it's that you have to be successful. Every day you, okay, I'll put it this way. When you end your life, you're either living your fears or your dreams. And the fears being you never reached your fullest potential, you never took care of your kids, you never retired your mother, you never treated your friends right with everything that they deserve. And then your dreams is whatever your dreams might be. And every single day the sun comes up and that's a day that you're either watching Rick and Morty, smoking, which is feeding your fears, or every day you're headed towards your dreams. So there's no, I want to be successful. You have to. And all you can do is that day, make sure that you're on the side of the dreams. It might not feel like you're making that much progress, but if you go to the gym that day, you get your meals in, and you spend time like alone with your thoughts, that's not much, but you're on your way to your dreams. Everyone thinks, how the am I gonna make $10 million? How am I gonna, I can't get a house because it's so expensive, and then they start thinking, this is a part of the reason being too smart is no good, because you're way over analyzing this massive problem, because the more you think about anything, there's a billion problems with it. But if you just make it super simple, today, I'm gonna work out and spend time with my own thoughts. You're in the right direction. So don't take it so, the problem is huge, but just chip away one day at a time, and you don't even need to think about the end goal of having a house every day. Like you have that initial thought and you're like, all right, now that's on the pinboard, and every day we're just going to slowly work to better myself.
And what do you think holds most people back?
The idea that it's too big of a goal. So it's like, this is just, everyone says I can't get a house because it's too expensive, and that's what they say. They didn't get a house because whatever. I'm not even, you know what, I'm just going to get a regular job because it's not even worth trying. But I'm the perfect example of regular Joe with below average, not necessarily below average, but pretty average tools. Like I'm not special by any means, and I found a reasonable amount of success. So if I can do it, why not you?
Here's what I'll say about you. You have two really great qualities about you. One is you don't overthink things. And whatever pops into your mind, you're just going to go and do it without doubting yourself. So I think that's really important. You have that. The other thing you have is that you picked, I think, the right lane at the right time for your personality, because you're really entertaining. Like that first video you posted is so unbelievably good that it's just like you can't help but keep watching it. because every moment there's just like another like people I think watch to expect you to like crash out at some point. They just want to see like, oh, what's he gonna do now? And you keep people on edge. And you're really, really, really good on camera. Like your hand movements and the way you speak is like that's engaging. Like it kept me up. I was driving late in the car. Your videos are getting me amped up at like 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm driving.
I didn't know I was good at YouTube. I didn't know I was good at making content until somebody one day said, "Oh, you're funny. You should make a YouTube video." I've never met once in my entire life like a person that's not good at it, like a useless person. Everyone is phenomenal at least one thing, but people just don't know what they're sitting on. Like inherently, you're gold. You just think you're a piece of shit because you're embarking on all of the wrong journeys, and then it's a negative spiral. You're going like the more you fail, the more you think you're a piece of shit. But you just need to try enough new things, and eventually you're gonna find that you're incredible. And that's what like I tell a lot of young people: like you're not a loser. You're just not doing what you're meant to be. Everyone is top 1% at least one thing. Really, if you've ever worked 40 hours a week, that's not easy. Like you know how to work really hard, but people don't give them that credit to themselves because they're like, oh, whatever. I only made $1,000 last week. Or you woke up at 5 a.m. every day. I couldn't do that.
Hello.
You just you outdid me, even though I have more than you outdid me in hard work. You know, so everyone has something.
But what if they want to be rich? What if that's their goal? What's your advice to those people?
Don't try and be rich because that's when you get lost in. You get too focused on the end goal. You will get rich if you become the best at what you love. For example, that dude what's the movie, the dude that climbs rocks and he does it. But I don't know, either way, no one would expect I'm gonna climb on this rock so good that I'm gonna be a millionaire. That guy is a millionaire because he has a cool movie now and he's like the best at climbing rocks. I guarantee you he never once was thinking, I'm gonna climb on this rock. So you just have to be focused on your passion and become the best at it. And the money, as far as my experience goes, just like falls in your hands once you're doing something that you like.
Would you say that money has changed you at all, or that you're happier with money?
Like once you get to say maybe 50K a month, then you can really do everything. And then the money beyond 50K a month doesn't happen. Like I do not feel happier because I'm wearing $500,000 of jewelry, but I do feel happier that I have 50K a month. I can take my friends on vacation and my mother out to a nice dinner. That's really where the money is valuable. As far as money changing me, no, I always had. A lot of people think it's like I talk about money and I have a big ego. I always had a really big ego and knew where I was going. I just never talked about it because the proof of concept wasn't there. Nobody wants to hear somebody that's living in a frat basement talk about I'm going to be so rich from the US. But now that I have the money, I feel more confident in talking about money because the proof of concept is there. There's credibility. So I don't think it's changed me at all.
How did you get started gambling? What was the first time you did that?
Oh, dude, I must have been like 15 years old. I can't even really. Online casinos is where everybody, like, I'll meet all my friends at high school and it's like, let's bet on. Oh, I guess it would start with betting directly against one. I bet $5 this. And it's like, okay, let's go. I won $10. I didn't have to do anything. That's cool. I remember the first time me and my friends opened up an online casino. It was one of the most fun nights we've ever had. We gambled $20 and it lasted us about 4 hours and we went up to 100 down. And it was such a special memory to me. Like the second I gambled for the first time, I knew that I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. This is incredible.
And what was the most happy you've been for a win that you remember?
Gambling is best when you're broke because then you're either not eating that day or you're gonna eat steak. And so it was we did $1,000 Plinko ball. Me and my 3 friends split it and it hit a 9x. So we made $9,000 and at the time I didn't have red money, so I had red money for 3 days and that was like the peak. I've never been happier in my entire life and I only won $3,000. It felt probably 10 times better to win that $3,000 than it did to win whatever my biggest win is, like $1 million something.
Do you feel like you're constantly chasing that feeling now?
100%, but I've accepted that I'll never feel that unless I go broke again, which is exciting. That's a productive thought that I just had. I shouldn't be afraid of going broke because life is more potent when you're broke. The stakes are higher because I don't have the safety net of at least I got a bed to go sleep on. At least I can eat food tonight. Like, I'll go after this. If I lose $1 million at the casino, at least I can go get out to dinner still. But if you're broke and you're gambling, then it's just like life is so much more exhilarating.
Maybe this gives you motivation. If you lose everything, that there's only up.
If you feel like you have nothing going for you, you have nothing to lose. So might as well go for it. Do it all.
When would you say you were most broke?
After I made the $1 million when I was 18, I think I owed the government maybe like $200,000, and I had $13,000 in my bank account. So that was probably the brokest.
So how long did it take to recover from that?
Well, I took that $13,000 and I put it into Pepe 2 days after I launched, and it turned into $1 million over like maybe 8 months. So it was like 8 months.
Dude, I need financial advice from you.
I think always Pepe. Well, you know what's funny is the reason I like Pepe so much is because of that experience, and it's funny that I bought Pepe because I would have never done that, but I was just like, I'm fucked. Like, I'm so fucked. I don't even know how I'm going to get this $200,000. So I was effectively full tilt on life. So I was like, I guess I'm going to pick a random meme coin, and I'm going to put my entire net worth into it and pray. And I just going through the meme coins, like, oh, Pepe fraud, that's funny. Pick that one, and then now it's like worth, $6 billion, and I invested in it, it was worth like $30 million. So that was just pure luck.
Do you feel like you had like an angel or something looking over you? Just
a lot of people say Toby's got plot armor, because somehow it always just works out. But also, I think that's the plot armor comes from being so willing and confident. Like, manifestation is the law of attraction is a very real thing. If you can taste it, if you can see something that's so real, you can taste it. I don't know why or how that works, but it comes your way. So I think the mindset and me being so in touch with what I want and attracting the things that I desire has given me this like quote unquote plot armor.
Do you think you're addicted to gambling?
Yes. I don't think Gamblers Anonymous has ever seen a beast like me. I swear, sometimes I watch myself on stream back and I'm like, what the is wrong with you? Because I don't think I could go maybe 48 hours without gambling. Like, it is, I'm full on, have to gamble all the time. But it's also awesome, like, me and all my friends are also addicted to gambling, and it's like a very fun experience. And we have a very strong bond over it.
Do you think that's maybe you guys all enabling each other and like kind of justifying it, making it seem normal? Because it's all you see, it's all you're around.
Hey, Cloud, what's up?
So say you're like feeding, you're addicted to, you probably feed like maybe once every 3 hours. Then you're in a room with 10 addicts. every 10 minutes somebody's like,
playing this game. Close
and
out
when
for
you're
a while.
gambling, it's like, yeah, every 10 minutes I'm sitting with my friends and somebody's like,
They restricted me in my elbow account because I think it's because I didn't respond.
What's your plan long term? Is it going to be one day you're going to stop, or you're going to scale back?
Well, here's the thing, and this is something that a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around. Typically, I don't think a week out. Like, you guys saw it was very difficult for me to schedule this podcast because you were like, you want to do this in a month. I have no idea what I'm going to do in a month. I might be in Dubai in a month. I might, so I think my life is scheduled out in one YouTube video at a time. I'll be doing a YouTube video, and I'm like taking a bunch of clips in order to edit it. This was a while ago, but I remember one time thinking that I was going to die because of the drugs, and I was just sitting like, just get this YouTube video, and then you can just get this YouTube video, and then you can. So it's really like I have no thought further than roughly 30 days, and then it's just like blank in my head.
Are you afraid of dying?
Definitely. I mean, no more afraid than anyone else per se. Like everyone's afraid.
So why wouldn't you take precautions to lessen the risk of you dying?
Oh, I would like to do that. And now that I have the money to do it,
Can't hear me?
Getting that MRI on my whole body.
I said
figure out, like,
they
exactly
restricted my
what I
over
need to
health.
like address what's on, like get my blood work done more frequently now, just to like make sure everything in the neighborhood is good. But then again, it's like when you're battling like the addiction of whatever it might be, like gambling, and you want to be healthy, like it's very easy to fall into a week-long bender, and then you come out and you're like, okay, not good. We should run that back and not do things of that nature. But that's kind of like everyone has internal conflict, and that's like one of mine. It's like I don't want to, but I also love doing some gambling. So it's like
if I could give you unsolicited advice, you don't have to listen to it. I would create a budget every single month or week or day actually that you gamble, guilt-free, and if you lose it, you go down to zero, totally fine. But as long as you create a budget
before
without going over it,
there's no self-control. Like once you get in the mind of a gambling addict, like it's literally like, I've tried to do that at least 10 times. I've never stuck to the budget ever. Once I start taking, it's like you're sitting there. The whole responsibility, like you're sitting there and you're either in responsible mode when you're like, this is all fucked and I need to set a budget, and then you're sitting at the table and that conversation you had with yourself 4 hours ago never happened. It doesn't exist.
I'm curious, what generally causes that tipping point between like, okay, I'm done with playing out, I'm gonna clock out for the night, or like, I'm done with this bender, I'm gonna return back to normal life. Like, what usually is the motivation for you to end those things?
Well, the 1.8 million is because Rubet locked my account. Is that you're done gambling?
But you would have kept going.
I would have kept going. And then like the bender situation is usually predetermined, right? Like you have a vacation, so it's like I'm gonna be here for 7 days. When we were doing the Cookie vs. Cabo video, the trip was planned for 3 days, and we ended up being there for 13 days because every day we're just like, let's extend it. So usually it's like once your body is like, you can't take any more. Like at a certain point of doing so many things gambling, like you do get exhausted, and you're just like, okay, the ROI is no longer there. I can now, and it very quickly don't hit this. Like at the first day of Cookie vs. Cabo, I'd probably take 3 pills a day. That last day, I'm probably taking 100 pills a day. So it's like very quickly, eventually you just stop working, and you have to take time off, and your brain is just like not working. So it's kind of like the tipping point is not. I don't pick the tipping point. The universe is like, Rubet's like, you're done gambling, or my body's like, you are done doing all of this, and then you're like, all right, then you return to reality.
I have a buddy who has a gambling addiction, and I've seen it. And it's fine if you have money coming in, but I've also seen it get to a point where you're starting to like, sell stuff just to get enough money to like put it all on one hand. Like sell your car, put that on a hand, but lose it, and then think, okay, what else can I sell? I'm gonna double that to try to win it back. And then if you win it back, then it's like, okay, well now I'm zero again, so I'm gonna play it now because it's like I didn't play at all. There's so many ways to justify it.
How hard he schemes to get money. Like he just needs to sell my car. If selling your car is such a pain in the ass. If he just used that energy, like being addicted to gambling, to a degree, forces you to be productive and make something of yourself. Or it's like, I'm not.
The problem is it's never ending. It's like you can't out success the gambling because eventually you'll keep losing. Well, because I've seen him up a lot of money, but he's justified a way to spend it back. Like, let's just say he's up 100 grand. Now it's like, well, it's a free 100,000, so I may as well try to double it. And if he doubles it, well, now I'm up 200 grand. Let's go again, and then you lose it all.
Those experiences for me are very exciting. And I'm not unhappy by any means because I'm addicted to gambling. 5 months ago, I tried to put my car on a Baccarat table, and they wouldn't let me. But it's just funny, like such an incredible experience and memories because it's crazy. Doing the crazy shit is what makes life.
The
so
hard
special.
part is that I think you're young enough where it doesn't matter. You're rewarded for it because if it's on camera, you'll get more followers, more money. And it's a part of your income, so it makes no difference right now.
Yeah.
The problem would be is if eventually you don't get it under control. Because right now you could easily say like it's worth
There's
really
something
bad.
that will make it get under control because I don't have a choice. Like if you have something that is very important to you, like if the livelihood of even say my dog was on the line, I'm 100% sure I would stop gambling in the pursuit of ensuring. So if you have kids, a wife, a house, that is so much more instinctively important to you, or to me at least. Maybe other people are different. The gambling isn't even like, all right, I gotta lock in and get this figured out.
But really quick, I just want to say, when Jack and I started off the Iced Coffee Hour, we really had to do a lot of the work on our own, from finding guests, figuring out the best questions to ask, editing, you name it. Every day just really brought its own set of challenges, and that's why if you're starting out your own business, you know how relevant today's sponsor is, and that would be Shopify.
Shopify is basically your all-in-one business partner, and they power millions of businesses worldwide, from major brands like Mattel and Gymshark to entrepreneurs just getting started. Fun fact, if you've ever shopped online in the US, there's a really good chance it was through Shopify because they power about 10% of all American e-commerce.
What's great about Shopify is that you get a complete design studio with hundreds of ready-to-use templates to build a beautiful online store that perfectly matches your brand. Even better, but you don't even have to code. Their AI tools even help you write product descriptions and enhance any product photos. Shopify also makes marketing easy with simple email and social campaigns to reach customers wherever they're scrolling. Plus, they handle literally everything from inventory to shipping to returns, basically all of the complicated stuff you don't want to deal with. That's why if you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business ideas into... So sign up for a $1 per month trial at shopify.com/ICH. We have a link down below in the description. It goes to shopify.com/ICH. It's a $1 per month trial. Change your life with just $1. Thank you so much to Shopify for sponsoring this episode. I have a question for you. When's the last time you needed to see a doctor, but you pushed it off? You made the excuse, I'm too busy, it'll heal on its own, or I don't even know which doctor to go to. I'm sure we've all been there. Booking a doctor's appointment can sometimes feel so daunting, but fortunately with our sponsor ZocDoc, there's no reason to delay because they make it incredibly easy to find and book a doctor who's right for you. For those unaware, ZocDoc is a free app and website where you can search and compare high-quality in-network doctors, and then you can click to instantly book an appointment. With ZocDoc, you can filter for doctors who take your insurance, are located nearby, are a good fit for any medical needs you might have, and who are highly rated by verified patients. And then, once you find the right doctor, you can see their actual appointment openings, choose a day and time that works best with you, and then click to instantly book the visit. And appointments made through ZocDoc also happen really fast, typically within 24 to 72 hours of booking, and you can even score same-day appointments. So stop putting off those doctor's appointments and go to ZocDoc.com/ice to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. That is ZocDoc.com/ice, ZocDoc.com/ice with the link down below in the description. Thank you so much to ZocDoc for sponsoring this episode. For social media, though, I mean, you've definitely used it to your favor. Is there a breakout video or moment that like really catapulted your success?
Yeah, it was Togi vs. Kava. Like that video probably made me $5 million for that one video alone. Like that because it made me. It was 0 to viral. Like that was when I went mainstream. It was Togi vs. Kava. So I think that video probably because at the time I was taking like 3 grams of steroids and I was taking 100 a day. So like realistically, that's
100 of what?
Probably doing like 60 Ritalins and maybe maybe like 70 Ritalins and like 10 to 20. So
Holy
like.
Were you like drinking alcohol or was it just...
Yeah, we'd be drinking too.
How does that not, like, honestly, how does that not believe?
Well, exactly. I think it took off 15 years of my life. Like, I genuinely think that video, but it's like, all right, that took off 15 years of my life, but the net return on that. The more dangerous part of that endeavor was the steroids. For somebody that doesn't know much about steroids, like half a gram is like what people take. And when you're taking 3 grams, you're in like a really bad spot. Like, you better be, that's what people like do is that are on stage, the 300 pounds, crazy like that's what they take, is like 3 grams. So when you mix those two, it's horrible for your heart, horrible for your cholesterol, horrible for your kidneys, your liver, it's just awful. But I don't regret it at all because I think, well, again, it made my career pretty much.
So how much would someone have to pay you to guarantee take a year off your life?
Oh, at this point, no amount of dollars, because like a good experience with friends going on vacation, that's way more valuable than a good memory is worth $5 million to me, or $10 million to me. You know what I mean?
What wouldn't you do for money? Is there like a line you refuse to cross?
A lot of things. I wouldn't study. Well, I mean, maybe if it was, how much would you study for? Maybe you're pretty rich though. No, I mean, there's a lot of things I would not do. I mean, there's a lot of things that are like
$10 million.
I'd probably 100% do.
Okay.
But there's certain things that like are morally just no good. Like if you are really crossing the line of human ethics, like I wouldn't kill somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Assuming it doesn't hurt anybody.
Oh, it just if it doesn't hurt anybody, I mean, give me an example. I can't think.
Would you
say.
sell a kidney?
That's hurting me. That's hurting me a lot, and my kidneys are barely working. So as far as the harm, like if hurting myself is included, no, I wouldn't do any harm to my body or other people for any amount of money.
What about surgically removing one finger for $10 million?
Oh, well, I mean,
and you could pick the finger.
Would you do that, Graham? You would.
100%. You do that.
The whole thing?
I'm not an athlete. What do you every day? How many fingers?
Typing would be kind of difficult.
Is that worth $10 million for you? I wouldn't do it. I don't think I could.
I cut off my feet for $10 million. Are you kidding me, dude? This is outrageous. Honestly, at a certain point, that's so much money, and your toes are so unimportant. I think I don't really know.
You don't really see the toes that often.
Imagine how many people, like hard-working people that deserve money, have kids, but they're just stuck in the loop. You could change 1,000 people's lives. I don't know if that math is right, but you know what I mean. How good would that feel to do that for a month straight? You're just like changing lives. One finger. You'd have to not get rid of one finger, and you could potentially save 1,000 lives.
Or Plinko. Why is fitness so important to you?
That's where my confidence is rooted, right? Before fitness, I was a skinny, insecure kid. And then I started going to the gym. Every man needs to go to the gym because it shows you that you are worthy and that you have something going on for you. Because a lot of people don't have anything going on for you. And even though getting more muscles isn't necessarily like super productive, you see that I put in the work, it wasn't easy, and I got results. Like it's the most linear work to results thing, and it's very realistic. It takes years to see like really phenomenal results. And so that when a kid is insecure, doesn't know what he's doing, doesn't know what he wants to do, and just feels like I'm a loser, I can't do anything. But then you get jacked, and all of a sudden people are like, wow, he looks good, I want to look like him. It reinforces the idea, or it even just shows you the idea that you can if you show up every day, no matter where you started.
So then what was the motivation for them going on gear once you felt like you've already developed a pretty decent physique?
It just, I love everything more, like more extreme. It was like, I look good, but I want to be extreme. And the reason I took steroids is because that's when I was really broke, and I was pretty desperate. I was like, I need to get famous. And it was like, what's something that I'm interested in, has a large audience of people that really like it, that will like a video, and a large audience of people that dislike it, that are gonna make hate comments. Like the perfect storm for going viral, because before I went viral, I would spend hours watching Jake Paul videos with a notebook. Not because I like Jake Paul, because I was like, what is this guy doing? Like, why is it different? Why is Bryce Hall so famous, so relevant still? How did he do this so fast? And he's incredibly successful. You need something that people hate and love, and large audiences. And so what I landed on was